Hello everyone and welcome to Victoria's Cantina. I'd like to wish everyone a happy new year and welcome you to 2016 as we look at our very first review of the year. And my friends, we are back with a bang. There is a lot to look at over the coming weeks. To kick things off, this year will be the year of Batman versus Superman, the one movie I'm looking forward to the most out of all movies this year. Perhaps with the exception being Independence Day too, because I'm really looking forward to that as well. But let's go ahead and take a look here at the figure. This is one of the brand new DC Comics Multiverse figures by Mattel that's meant to celebrate Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. This is the Armored Batman. It's a 6-inch scaled figure. As you may very well know, the Multiverse figures went from being 6-inch scale to being 4-inch scale a couple years ago. And it looks like they're now going back to 6-inch, which I'm really happy about because I definitely prefer 6-inch when it comes to my superhero figures. So the Batman vs. Superman figures are in the Multiverse line. The box itself is actually quite nice, and it actually does look like Marvel Legends a good bit. Pretty nice black and red sort of look. It has what looks like a spiral galaxy sort of look there at the top. Says DC Comics Multiverse. Right here you get Batman versus Superman. Looking at the figure, it's nicely showcased inside the packaging. Batman versus Superman, Armored Batman. We have a picture there of Batman in his armored suit. On the side, we get the same image there. And the side doesn't have a whole lot other than the bottom saying Batman versus Superman. And on the back says that this is the Batman versus Superman, Armored Batman. And basically, this is very similar to Hasbro's Marvel Legends. Once again, because what you do is you collect a piece that comes packed with each figure, but instead of building like a figure like Hasbro's been doing with Marvel Legends, you can actually build a Grapnel Blaster, which is freaking awesome, and I'm really looking forward to getting all the figures in order to do this. Now, the downside is that you do need to get 8 figures, which is quite a few. So I'm really looking forward to getting that put together and seeing what it's like. It could be a cheap plastic thing, or, I mean, if it's anything like that, it looks pretty decent. You know, you should be able to hold it in your hand like that. So, pretty cool. It says here that the DC Multiverse figures are inspired by comic-based, character-rich environment sources such as movies and video games. These figures are meticulously designed to be truly authentic, celebrating the many universes of entertainment DC Comics material. And then on the bottom, we get a look at the other figures that are in this series. We have Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Armored Batman. I've got all of them, and I am waiting to review the rest for you in the coming weeks. So let me go ahead and get Batman out of the packaging, see what he's like. I'm really excited about this figure, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what it's like once I get it in my hand. So let's go ahead and do that now. All right, you guys, so here he is out of the packaging, and right off the bat, he looks absolutely awesome, but there is a huge flaw with this figure that I will show you in just a bit. But just looking at the figure, he looks absolutely great. I love the detail on here. This is beyond what Mattel usually does with their figures, but it just looks great. The gunmetal sort of look that they gave him, the paint just looking really roughed up and, battle hardened. It just looks awesome. From all angles, the proportions of the figure really do look quite good. From the back, he's got a plastic cape, which I think looks really nice. And it's basically just like a plastic sort of thing. Pretty rigid, but nonetheless, it does flex and it is sculpted very nicely. And from all angles, it really does look quite good. Now, let me go ahead and give you a close-up here of Batman's head. And you'll see that they did a really nice job with the look of the figure. Looks a lot like the Batman as we see him in the trailer for Batman vs. Superman. And just really stunning. Again, I really like the paint. The skin tone underneath looks decent. There's really not a whole lot to see, but his lip does look a little bit strange. Almost like a frown, which, it's Batman. You wouldn't not expect a frown. Just all around, very nice detail, nice scratches and stuff. I really like it. I really like the way that it looks. The armor itself looks really good. Really like the arms, the legs, the torso. It's got kind of like a strap right there. It looks like a seatbelt almost. He's got a belt. It's got a little bit of gold coloring on it. You can see that he has his blades right there on his gauntlets. And interestingly, they're also found here on his boots, which is very cool. Very unique. But I really like the suit. I really like what Mattel did here. I just think that it looks really good. The backside of the suit is similarly patterned and detailed. His butt actually doesn't have much gloss or detail on it, but I guess that would be uncomfortable if you're sitting down. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Other than that, I mean, it looks really good. The boots are pretty spiked. Very unique look to this guy. And I dig it. I really, really dig it. In the way of articulation, Batman has a ball joint here at the head, and it actually gets a pretty decent amount of movement. It can go up and down a bit, side to side. It ain't bad. He's got ball joints at both of the shoulders, and they move out pretty nicely. You get swivels at the biceps, bends at both of the elbows, swivels at both of the wrists. You get an ab crunch, which doesn't get a whole lot of forward movement at all. I mean, it goes back, but it doesn't really go forward. He's got a swivel here at the torso. You get your ball joints at both of the hips. You get swivels at both of the thighs. You get a bend at the knee, and then you get a bend at the ankle, which leads me to the biggest problem with this figure, and that is that he is almost impossible to stand. Impossible to stand. Just trying to get him. It doesn't matter how you want to do it. If you want to get him just to kind of be like in a neutral pose, he can't do it. If you want him to have kind of like a little more of a spread sort of thing, he cannot do it. I'm trying to figure out why that is, and I think I might have a somewhat of an idea. And that is that if you look at the knees right here, that knee pad is actually a little bit longer than this one. I don't know why, but it is a little bit longer, which kind of gives the leg a little bit, I mean, it doesn't really look longer, but I guess, it looks like it must be maybe just a couple millimeters longer than the right leg. So that's a big part of the problem. The other part of the problem is that he does not have rocker joints here at the ankles. Now, if the figure stood, neutrally like this, that shouldn't even be an issue. It shouldn't need rocker joints. But I think because this leg is longer than this one, you have to sort of spread the legs a little bit in order to get him to stand better. But you can't because he doesn't have rocker joints here at his ankles, unfortunately. I can't even use a display stand because you can see there's no peg holes here, so I can't use a stand to put him on the shelf. It's just a very difficult figure to stand without doing something extreme, like posing him like in the forward position like that. I mean, he can stand there, but why would you want to have him on a shelf like that? It's just ridiculous. How else? It just doesn't make much sense to me. At the opening of the sequence, I kind of just finagled his legs a little bit and got him to stand a little kind of like that. I love the figure. Don't get me wrong. I think that this looks amazing, especially by Mattel standards. But the fact that it does not stand is hugely, hugely troublesome. And I'm really disappointed that I'm having this much of a problem getting him to stand. It's absolutely ridiculous. In terms of his other accessories, Batman comes with a gun. And that's a decent looking gun. It's unique, I think. It looks pretty good. Basically just like a black plastic, very simple. And it's really hard to get into his hand because look at how closed his fingers are there, and look at the gun. So, I mean, it's just, same with the left hand. It's pretty closed. So if you want to get it in there, it's really, really, really tight. I mean, I guess you could cheat and do this, put the back part of the gun in there like that, but I mean, that's obviously not the way it's supposed to be. All right, so I got it in there. I had to stretch the hand as much as I could. It's very stiff plastic, so it doesn't really stretch, but I was able to get it, so that's the important thing. But I still can't get him to stand, so it's just going to turn into, I don't know what I'm going to do with this guy. Obviously, I can't really display him unless I lean him back against the wall or something. Now, in terms of your Build-A-Figure parts, you do get this right here, which is part of the gun, part of the grapnel gun. And looking back here on the packaging, this figure is number 4. So number 4 is going to go right there. So it's like a little piece, I guess, that goes onto the grapnel gun. So you can see if this piece is, like a couple inches, this is going to be a huge gun. It's probably going to be about a foot long or so, maybe like 8 inches deep. Really looking forward to getting that built, but you got to buy 8 figures. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it. This is the Mattel DC Comics Multiverse Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice Armored Batman 6-inch scale figure. All in all, you guys, the figure looks beautiful, But the figure also really sucks because I can't get him to stand no matter what I do. And I'm hugely disappointed with this because I was really, really looking forward to this figure. It just has a huge flaw that is really hard to look past, and I am severely disappointed by this. One of the most basic functions of an action figure should be for it to stand. That should be a no-brainer, shouldn't be an issue. It does not stand. I don't know what I need to do in order to get it to stand, but it does look like the left leg is a little bit longer than the right leg, and there are no rocker joints at the ankles, so I simply cannot get him to stand. Other than that, the figure looks great. It's got a really nice sculpt. It's got very nice and detailed paint. I really like the cape. The gun is okay. You can't really get him to hold it very well without really pulling the hand open to get it in there. But the figure itself, as much as I like it, as much as I'd like to recommend it to you, it just cannot stand. And I don't know if it's just mine that's, deformed like this, or if they're all like this. But all I can tell you is what my personal experience is with this figure. And all I can really say right now is that I can't recommend it to you. It just can't stand. And as pretty as it is, it's got to stand in order for me to show it off or display it in any way. And there's no peg hole underneath its foot, so I can't even use a display stand. On a scale of 1 to 3 stars, I'm going to go ahead and give this one 3 stars. Mattel can do so much better than a figure that cannot stand. I'm really disappointed with this. And if you're collecting this line, there are going to be other Batman options, of course, that we will look at in a future video. But just going off this one, the Armored Batman, which is, a very unique thing about this movie and a very unique figure for the toy line, it just really stinks that it, has this sort of issue. All right, my friends, if you enjoyed this video, then I do encourage you to please like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you think about this figure, whether or not you have the same issue that I'm having, whether or not you're planning on picking him up. Stay tuned because we are going to be reviewing all of the figures from the Batman vs. Superman Multiverse 6-inch figure line, as well as a few other things that I'm going to be looking at from the Mattel Batman vs. Superman toy line. Be sure to follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and as always, I want to thank you for watching Victoria's Cantina. Until next time, my friends, bye-bye.